The air grows cold, a floorboard creaks, shadows dance in the flickering candlelight. You feel a presence. Something unseen watches you. It lurks in the darkness of a haunted house. We are drawn to these places. Places where the veil between our world and the next is thin. Places where the dead still walk. Why do we seek out the darkness? Perhaps it's the thrill of the unknown, the adrenaline rush of fear, or maybe we want to believe. We want proof that death is not the end. Whatever the reason, haunted houses continue to fascinate us. They tap into our primal fears. They remind us that there are things in this world we cannot explain. The belief in haunted places is ancient. Every culture has its own tales of spirits and demons. These stories are passed down through generations. They become ingrained in our collective consciousness. In ancient Rome, people believed that ghosts haunted crossroads. They would bury their dead with coins to pay the ferrymen of the underworld. In medieval Europe, people feared haunted forests and abandoned castles. They believed these places were home to witches, werewolves, and vampires. These beliefs may seem superstitious to us now, but they speak to a deep-seated human fear of the unknown. We are afraid of what we cannot see. We are afraid of what we cannot control. Gettysburg, Pennsylvania, a small town forever marked by a bloody battle. The Battle of Gettysburg was a turning point in the Civil War. It was also one of the deadliest. Thousands of soldiers lost their lives on those hallowed grounds. Today, Gettysburg is considered one of the most haunted places in America. Visitors report seeing ghostly soldiers. They hear the sounds of battle echoing through the night. Some even claim to have been touched by. Gettysburg is Devil's Den. This rocky area was the site of fierce fighting. Many soldiers met their end here. Visitors to Devil's Den report feeling a sense of dread. They see shadowy figures darting among the rocks. Waverly Hills Sanatorium, a tuberculosis sanatorium in Louisville, Kentucky. It was once a place of hope, a place where patients came to find a cure. But for many, it was a death sentence. Tuberculosis was a devastating disease in the early 20th century. There was no cure. Patients were often sent to sanatoriums to live out their final days. Waverly Hills was one such place. The conditions at Waverly Hills were horrific. Patients were crowded together in unsanitary conditions. Many died slow and painful deaths. It is no wonder that the sanatorium is now considered one of the most haunted places in America. Visitors to Waverly Hills report hearing screams and moans echoing through the empty halls. They see shadowy figures lurking in the darkness. Some even claim to have been physically attacked by unseen forces. Section 5. The Island of Broken Souls, Alcatraz Island, a small island in San Francisco Bay. For nearly 30 years it was home to one of the most notorious prisons in America. Alcatraz housed some of the most dangerous criminals in the country. Men like Al Capone and George Machine Gun Kelly. Alcatraz was a place of violence and despair. Inmates were kept in solitary confinement. They were subjected to brutal treatment. It is no surprise that many of them died within the prison walls. Today, Alcatraz is a popular tourist destination, but it is also said to be one of the most haunted places in America. Visitors report hearing the sounds of chains rattling and cell doors slamming shut. They see shadowy figures lurking in the cell blocks. Section 6. The Specter of My Childhood. I've always been drawn to the paranormal. The unknown, the mysterious, the things that go bump in the night have always fascinated me. As a child, I lived in a house that I believe was haunted. It was an old, creaky place with a history that seemed to whisper through its walls. I would hear footsteps in the hallway at night. They were slow, deliberate, and always seemed to stop just outside my door. I would see shadows moving in the corner of my eye. They were fleeting, but unmistakable, like dark figures dancing just beyond my vision. One night, I woke up to the sound of someone crying. It was a soft, mournful wail that sent chills down my spine. I got out of bed and followed the sound to my parents' room. Each step felt heavier than the last, as if the air itself was thick with dread. I opened the door and saw a dark figure standing at the foot of their bed. It was tall and menacing, shrouded in shadows. I was paralyzed with fear. My heart pounded in my chest and I could barely breathe. I couldn't move or speak. It was as if an invisible force was holding me in place. The figure turned and looked at me. Its gaze was piercing and I felt a cold shiver run down my spine. Its eyes were glowing red. They seemed to burn with an otherworldly fire, illuminating the darkness around it. I screamed and ran back to my room. My legs felt like jelly, but fear propelled me forward. I hid under the covers until morning. The thin fabric felt like my only shield against the unknown. I never saw the figure again. But the memory of that night haunted me for years. But I never forgot that night. It was a turning point, a moment that changed my perception of reality. It was the night I realized that there are things in this world that we cannot explain. The unknown is vast and terrifying, and sometimes it comes to visit us in the dead of night. Section 7. Cold hands, unexplained noises. What makes a place haunted? Is it the eerie silence that fills the air, or the unsettling feeling that something unseen is lurking just out of sight? Is it the presence of spirits, wandering the halls, seeking closure, or simply reliving their past? Or is it simply the residual energy of past events, echoing through time and space, leaving an imprint on the very walls? Whatever the explanation, there are certain phenomena that are commonly associated with haunted places. These occurrences can be both fascinating and terrifying. One of the most common experiences is the feeling of being watched. It's as if invisible eyes are following your every move. People in haunted places often report feeling like they are being followed or observed. This sensation can be so strong that it sends shivers down their spine. They may turn around and see no one there. But the feeling persists, creating an atmosphere of constant unease. Another common experience is hearing unexplained noises. Footsteps echoing in empty hallways, disembodied voices whispering in the dark, and knocking sounds that seem to come from nowhere. These noises may be heard intermittently, or they may be constant, adding to the sense of dread and mystery. They may also seem to be coming from a specific location, yet when investigated, there is nothing to be found. People in haunted places feeling sudden changes in temperature. A room that was warm just moments ago can suddenly become icy cold. A cold spot in a room can be particularly unsettling, as if an unseen presence beside you. A sudden chill down the spine can make the hairs on the back of your neck stand up, leaving you feeling vulnerable and exposed. These temperature changes are often attributed to the presence of spirits, as if they are drawing energy from the environment to manifest themselves. Section 8. Darkness in the basement. I've investigated countless haunted locations. Each one is unique in its own way, with its own set of eerie characteristics and spine-chilling stories. Each one holds its own terrors, lurking in the shadows, waiting to be discovered. But there are certain places that are inherently more frightening than others, places that seem to amplify the fear and dread. Basements are one such place. They are often the most neglected parts of a house, shrouded in darkness and mystery. Buried beneath the ground, they are dark, damp, and often filled with forgotten objects. The air is thick with the scent of mold and decay. Basements are often associated with death and decay, a place where the past lingers and the present fears to tread. They are the perfect breeding ground for fear, where every creak and groan of the house above seems amplified. Attics are another place where fear takes hold. They are the forgotten spaces, often left untouched for years. Like basements, attics are often dark and dusty, filled with the remnants of lives long past. They are filled with old furniture, boxes of forgotten belongings, and family secrets that whisper in the silence. Attics can be claustrophobic and disorienting, with low ceilings and narrow spaces that seem to close in on you. It is easy to feel lost and alone in an attic, surrounded by the echoes of the past. Hospitals are also high on the list of frightening places. They are places where life and death intersect. They are places of sickness, suffering, and death, where the walls have witnessed countless stories of pain and loss. Hospitals are often filled with the spirits of those who have passed away within their walls, lingering in the halls, seeking peace. Section 9. Fear, a primal instinct. Fear is a primal instinct. It is hardwired into our brains. It is what keeps us safe from danger. When we encounter a threat, our bodies go into fight or flight mode. Our heart rate and breathing increase. Our muscles tense up. We are flooded with adrenaline. This prepares us to either fight the threat or flee from it. In a haunted house, our fear response is heightened. We are in a state of heightened awareness. We are constantly on the lookout for danger. This makes us more susceptible to suggestion. We are more likely to see and hear things that are not really there. Section 10. The enduring allure of haunted houses. Why are we so fascinated by haunted houses? Why do we seek out experiences that scare us? Perhaps it is because fear is a powerful emotion. It can make us feel alive. When we are afraid, we are fully present in the moment. We are not thinking about the past or the future, we are focused on the here and now. This can be an exhilarating experience. Haunted houses also offer us a sense of escape. They allow us to step outside of our everyday lives and enter into a world of fantasy and imagination. In a world that often feels uncertain and unpredictable, haunted houses offer us a sense of control. We know that the scares are not real. We can choose to face our fears, or we can turn away. Section 11, Never Alone. The next time you find yourself in a dark and creepy place, remember this: you are not alone. Something watches from the shadows. It may be the spirit of a long-dead soul, or it may be something far more sinister, but whatever it is real, and it is waiting for you.